And we will start off with the rematch of rematches in Pereira and Adesanya. The main event. This is a very interesting fight with Adesanya coming in 23-2, Pereira coming in 7-1. Right now at Betway, you can get Adesanya for minus 125 favorites, and Alex Pereira can be had as a dog for plus 123 at Cool Bets. And this is one that I'm going to chime in a little bit on. And this really is a rematch of really an opportunity in windows. And really that's what Pereira is going to be searching for. And the notes that I wrote down when watching the last fight, I was so tuned into that fight. And the reason being, I was so scared for that Pereira hook. Like we were waiting for that to come, and you're so tuned into watching what Adesanya is going to do to stay away from it. And he overloads your system, much like Sandhagen did in his last fight. He's throwing feints at you. He's rolling his hips. He's throwing feints from low, high. He's switching his stance. He's changing his direction. He's faking the takedown. He's actually shooting a takedown. He's constantly overloading your system. And with a guy like Pereira, who already has lower volume, he only has a certain amount of windows to land that big shot. And what Adesanya's trying to do is take those windows away as much as possible and win a decision. That's really what he's trying to do. Unfortunately, Pereira just finds that window eventually. That window is there for him usually later in a fight. Those hooks are mean. And the reason why he's able to actually land, he doesn't throw from a normal stance. He doesn't throw his punches back from almost like I call it an archery stance, where you're pulling back on that punch a little bit. He actually throws them straight up here he's squared off because he has so much power. He's able to throw a shot square. So you can't really gauge those as well. So it's definitely an interesting matchup. It's going to be a chess match. I think Adesanya really has to lean on this wrestling heavy early. It needs to happen. It needs to be a focus. And whether it works on Pereira, I don't know. So I'm going to pass this one off. We will start off with the man, Billy Briz. What's your take on this one? Pereira, Adesanya. I'm back and forth on this one. Does Adesanya actually do it, pull up decision, or does he get caught again?
Yeah, this fight had me going back and forth too. I'm actually in Danbury, Connecticut. That's where I've been staying at, home of Glover's Gym. Actually had lunch with Alex Pereira's lawyer the other day, and I exactly had to get to his idea about what he thought about the fight, and I agree with him 1,000%. I mean, Alex Pereira's cutting a lot of weight to come down the middleweight, man, and sometimes you get fat and happy in life, and sometimes some of those fights start turning into money fights. I mean, he took a glory kickboxing title fight before he signed to the UFC. I mean, I can't imagine how much money he's made. He went from driving into a Volkswagen to driving into a BMW with a beautiful lady. I mean, he's reached the heights of all heights for Alex Pereira. I feel like Israel Adesanya is coming into this fight a little bit motivated. We know Israel Adesanya might have the best fight IQ in all of MMA. I think he has a lot of ways to get this fight a W in his favor. I think that line at minus 150 is very generous. But if you're a little bit scared about that, I can honestly see the under 4.5 hitting, like you were touching on. I feel like the only way Alex Pereira wins this fight is by knockout or a submission off of his back from an Israel Adesanya takedown. I could see Israel Adesanya getting a takedown using the grappling in the third and fourth rounds, which could make Alex Pereira a little bit tired. The lawyer told me that he hasn't been practicing on the ground like that. It's been more of striking and going to Thailand and doing that type of stuff. So I feel like Alex, this is the last time that we see him fight at middleweight. I think there's bigger fights for him in the future at light heavyweight and heavyweight. I think he's looking for the Jamal Hill money day, payday fight. He's looking for the Yuri Prochazka money fight. He's looking for the John Jones fight. Alex Pereira has a lot of things that he can do with the rest of his career. I feel like Israel Adesanya, we know what he wants to do. He wants to be the middleweight champion again.
Okay, Nick?
Yeah, I'm like everybody else on this one, man. Like you kind of go back and forth on it. The thing with Israel Adesanya is he kind of fought the perfect fight in the last one and still got clipped. And I feel like that's where I'm hesitant to pull the trigger on it. I agree with what Billy said. I think Pereira, he even talked about heavyweight and, what he can do up there and everything like that. So it's not like he wants to stick around in this division. From a betting perspective on this fight, I think I'm personally going to stay away from it just because it's kind of like what we saw with Usman, right? Like you kind of want to see where they're at and where they're coming back with. I think that Izzy should win this fight. I think he should regain his title. And the only play that I've looked at on this fight is knockout only prop at minus 160. on DraftKings because I think, as you guys both pointed out, that if Alex Pereira wins, it's going to be by finish. So, and then if Izzy wins a decision, you get your money back at the end of the day. So that's the only real prop I've looked at this one.
The one number I don't have in front of me, but I know it is a stark number, is the immediate rematch. It doesn't play well for the former champion. So that is the only thing that's sort of like, that's where these storylines play off with narratives and really how it's going to play out. But I mean, Pereira finding that chin has been the consistent storyline, right? That's the finality, I think. So
yeah, I think it's 3-12. I think it's 3-12 for champions regaining the title. So it's not a very favorable number.
It's in that last one, man. My question for you guys is, since we know Israel Adesanya is going to wrestle a little bit more than what the odds makers are expecting, do you think there's value in any of these submission props for any of these fighters? I mean, fight to end by submissions plus 950. People call that crazy, but I mean, I think if Alex Pereira, there's two ways Alex Pereira finishes this fight. Either by knocking Israel Adesanya like he did last time, or throwing up a submission off of his back because he doesn't get up from off of takedowns. So do you think Israel Adesanya get a rear naked choke? I mean,
that's what I would, man. I was the same way I was thinking Holly Holm, rear naked choke, and it actually almost happened. I could see, like, you know, he lands a couple of shots up top after taking him down in the wrestling situation. You know, although Pereira is better on the ground in the jiu-jitsu, the black belt becomes a blue belt real quick with an elbow, turns, gives up his back. A lot of guys can sink a rear naked choke. It doesn't take too much to sink that. So, yeah, I can see it. Ends in submission. That's an interesting one. That's like a Lambo type play. I like that one.
Yeah, plus 950 on FanDuel. I mean, if you're playing this fight, I mean, it's worth a couple sprinkles. I mean, we're going to be watching a fight at 1 o'clock in the morning going into Easter Sunday. How do you not throw some plus monies out there? Because I'm a little bit scared of these round props. I don't see this fight going to the championship rounds. I mean, you rewatch that fight, I feel like Israel Adesanya, let that fight have a little bit more time at the end of the first round. He could have probably finished Alex Pereira. And the same exact case scenario for Alex Pereira, I felt like that was an early stoppage.
What if fight doesn't start round 4? Because I think that is also one narrative too, that Adesanya comes out a little bit more aggressive, doesn't wait and doesn't try to out chess match and just goes for it. That's
I'll give you a better price tag. Fight doesn't start round 5 plus 102.
I like that. I think that's going to have to be a podcast play.